Chosen ones, listen closely because what I'm about to share with you is not just a message. It's a divine revelation that will shift the course of your life forever. If you're watching this video right now, it's no accident. God has guided you here for a reason. And what you're about to hear is a truth so powerful, it will awaken something deep within your soul. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend into the crowd or settle for a life of struggle. You are a chosen one, handpicked by the Creator of the universe to rise into a destiny of unimaginable wealth. Yes, you heard me right. God chose you to be a billionaire, and the key to unlocking that abundance is yours to claim today. This isn't a dream or a distant hope. It's a promise, a divine guarantee that's already moving toward you. Get ready because your life is about to transform in ways you can't even fathom. Before we dive into this life-changing revelation, I need you to do 3 things right now. Pause this video, hit that like button, subscribe to join us as we soar toward 1,000 subscribers, and drop the number 77 in the comments below. That number 77 isn't just random. It's a sacred signal of divine alignment, a declaration to the universe that you're ready to step into the wealth God has ordained for you. When you take these actions, you're not just supporting this message. You're activating the energy of abundance in your life. If you're truly a chosen one, you'll stay with me until the end because your spirit already knows this truth is meant for you. Let's unlock this together. Your billionaire destiny is waiting. You were chosen by divine appointment, not by chance. You weren't selected based on the degrees on your wall, the size of your bank account, or the applause of the crowd. No, this was a decision made in the heavens, long before you ever breathed your first breath. The Creator saw you in the silence when no one was watching, and He said, "That one, that soul right there, that's the one I will anoint to carry the weight of wealth, the burden of blessing, the power of purpose." This isn't prosperity for vanity. This is abundance for impact. God didn't choose you to flex. He chose you to function. You've got something in you, an energy, a calling, a divine DNA that refuses to die, refuses to settle, refuses to stay broke in a broken system. You've been walking through fire, not because you were cursed, but because you're being forged. Because you're being forged. Billionaire status is not just a bank balance. It's a spiritual stature, and those who are chosen to carry it must be refined in secret. Every struggle you faced, every door that slammed in your face, every sleepless night you endured, it was part of the training. The anointing cost something. And because you paid that price in obedience, you're about to step into a divine inheritance. Listen to me closely. You're not chasing the money. The money is chasing you. It's attracted to your calling. It's magnetized by your obedience. God is about to unlock financial doors that generations before you could not even dream of. You will break the curse of poverty not just for yourself, but for your bloodline. People you haven't met yet will thank God for your yes. This billionaire blessing has been stalking you since birth, and now it's knocking. But to open that door, you must know this one truth deep in your bones. You are not asking for too much. You're finally asking for what was already yours. The land is yours. The wealth is yours. The favor is yours. But you've got to claim it with conviction. Don't apologize for dreaming big. Don't downplay your destiny to make others comfortable. This level of success isn't arrogance. It's obedience. Because when God calls you to greatness, staying small is disobedience. So rise, chosen one, stand tall. The heavens have voted in your favor, and the wealth of nations is waiting on your voice, your vision, your movement. The promise is real. The time is now. You've been chosen to lead, chosen to prosper, chosen to build, and chosen to reign. And the chains that held you down, they're breaking right now in this very moment. Because once a chosen one believes, all of heaven moves to make that belief reality. God places desires in your heart as blueprints for your future reality. That feeling you get deep in your soul, the one that keeps pulling you forward even when everything around you says, "Stop." That's not wishful thinking. That's divine design. You see, chosen ones, The dreams that live inside of you, the visions that visit you late at night when the world is asleep, those aren't accidents. They are assignments. God doesn't tease you with fantasy. He plants purpose like seeds in your spirit, and when you water them with faith, with obedience, with action, those seeds bloom into reality. Every time you felt a tug to rise, to build, to break free from mediocrity, that was God speaking. Every time you looked around at your life and knew deep down, this isn't all there is, that was your divine blueprint surfacing. The enemy wants you to doubt that. He wants you to think those desires are too big, too far-fetched, too much. But here's the truth. If the dream was too big for you, God wouldn't have put it in you. He doesn't waste breath, and He doesn't make mistakes. When God places the image of abundance in your heart, when He whispers billionaire dreams into your spirit, it's because He's already made the way. Now it's your job to believe it. You have to stop waiting for permission from the world and start trusting the direction of the divine. You were never meant to shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. Your dreams are not supposed to make sense to everybody. They're not supposed to be comfortable. They're supposed to be confirmations. Understand this. When God gives you a dream, He also gives you the authority to carry it out. He equips you in silence, matures you through the grind, and shapes you through rejection. Your desire for wealth is not evil. It's sacred. It's the currency through which you will fund healing, build legacies, and create impact. That business idea you keep pushing to the side, that's part of the plan. That vision to buy land, to own properties, to set people free financially, that's not ego. That's divine architecture. Stop labeling your God-given vision as too much. The chosen ones were never created for just enough. You were designed to overflow. That's why small dreams make you restless. That's why shallow living makes your spirit ache. You were called to walk in overflow, because you are meant to give from overflow. And let me tell you something powerful. You don't need to see all the steps to move forward. The blueprint isn't a map. It's a calling. You walk by faith, not by full instruction. God shows you enough to get started, and when you move, more is revealed. So trust that inner pull. Trust the desire that won't die. Stop burying the billion-dollar vision just to make broke people feel comfortable. God didn't call you to dim your light for people who have no intention of finding theirs. If the desire is still alive in you, if it still burns even after all the disappointment, that's because it's from God, and it's coming to pass. Don't let anyone talk you out of your own destiny. Don't wait for confirmation from people who aren't even connected to your calling. What's in your heart is real, it's holy, and it's happening. Because when God places a vision in the heart of a chosen one, the entire universe begins to conspire to bring it into existence. And when a chosen one honors the desires God placed inside them, heaven itself honors their path with divine wealth and unstoppable favor. Divine wealth follows divine alignment. Obedience opens the gates of abundance. Chosen one, listen carefully. Wealth doesn't show up just because you want it. It arrives when your life comes into agreement with the will of God. It's not about hustle alone. It's not about how many hours you work or how many followers you have or even how talented you are. It's about alignment. It's about obedience. God is not obligated to bless your ambition. He blesses your assignment. When your heart, your habits, your speech, your relationships, your time, your priorities all line up with what He told you to do, that's when the floodgates open. That's when resources you didn't even pray for start chasing you down. That's when people show up out of nowhere ready to invest, support, sow, and partner. That's when opportunities start opening that you could never make happen by yourself. Not because you manipulated anything, but because heaven recognized your obedience. See, most people want the promise without the process. They want the riches without the righteousness. They want the outcome without the obedience. But God isn't looking for gifted rebels. He's looking for surrendered vessels. And when He finds one, when He sees someone willing to say yes, even when it costs something, He pours out wealth in ways that make the world stop and stare. The real test isn't how badly you want to be a billionaire. The real test is how far you're willing to go in obedience when no one is clapping for you. Will you build what he told you to build, even when it looks like it's not working? Will you walk away from what's comfortable to chase what's divine? Will you choose the narrow road, knowing that the wide road is easier but emptier? Chosen one, alignment means letting go of distractions that don't match your destiny. You can't be connected to everybody and expect billionaire blessings. You can't keep living in compromise and expect clarity. Every time you obey a divine instruction, you unlock something. Sometimes it's peace. Sometimes it's provision, sometimes it's protection. But obedience is never wasted. It's the currency of the kingdom. It's how heaven moves. Even Jesus, before miracles, before resurrection, before the name above all names, walked in perfect obedience, and we are called to do the same. That thing you've been avoiding, that calling you've been running from, that decision you've been delaying, it might be the very act of obedience that opens the vault of wealth God's been storing up for you. This is why you can't just do what feels good. You've got to do what's right in God's eyes. Even when it doesn't make sense. Even when it costs friendships. Even when it requires risk. Because divine wealth isn't random. It's released in response to divine alignment. God blesses order. He blesses those who walk in the Spirit, not in the flesh. And that alignment starts in the quiet, when nobody's watching, when it's just you and him. That's where the favor starts building. That's where the billions start moving in your direction, not from noise, but from obedience. You are one act of radical obedience away from stepping into supernatural provision, one yes away from walking into divine overflow. When you stop negotiating with God and start moving with him, that's when everything changes. You don't have to beg for wealth. You just have to be where God told you to be, doing what he told you to do. Stay in position, chosen one. Because when heaven finds you in alignment, earth has no choice but to release the blessing. And the moment your spirit fully aligns with his will, abundance will chase you down like a river crashing through a valley. Uncontainable, undeniable, and absolutely divine. Chosen one, the delay you're experiencing is not denial. It's preparation, you see. God doesn't operate on your timeline. He's not in a rush to give you something you're not yet mature enough to manage. And that's not punishment. That's protection. You've been looking at the waiting season as if it's wasted time, but it's not. It's divine strategy. Because when God calls someone to a destiny as massive as billionaire status, he doesn't just prepare the blessing. He prepares you for the blessing. Before God delivers the wealth, he strengthens the vessel. Before he hands you the kingdom, he teaches you how to wear the crown. That means the delays, the disappointments, the silent seasons. Every one of them is working for your development. God is not just giving you money, he's building your mindset. Because money in the hands of the unprepared becomes a curse. But wealth in the hands of the obedient? That becomes a miracle. Think about Joseph, chosen for greatness, given a dream of rulership. But before he ever sat in Pharaoh's palace, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned. Why? Because the man who would one day manage nations had to first learn to master his emotions, his character, his integrity. Every betrayal shaped him. Every loss refined him. Every dark night stretched his capacity to lead, to steward, to obey. And when the time was right, when the preparation had completed its work, God didn't just deliver Joseph from prison, he promoted him to power. That's what's happening to you right now, chosen one. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. You're in the classroom of kings. God is teaching you how to think, how to move, how to handle the weight of what's coming. The billions you're destined for aren't just numbers, they're responsibility. You're being called to break generational curses, to fund global missions, to restore broken systems, to build what others were too afraid to imagine. That kind of calling demands patience, it demands training, it demands delay. Not because God is slow, but because he is precise. The delay is where he detoxes your heart from greed, from pride, from insecurity. It's where he teaches you to hear his voice above all the noise. Because when the wealth comes, and it is coming, You'll need that clarity to steward it well. Don't let the delay make you bitter. Let it make you better. Let it make you better. Don't waste the season by complaining. Use it to sharpen your gifts. Master your habits, heal your heart, get in alignment with His vision. Because what you're waiting on is already prepared. It's waiting on you. And when God sees that you're ready, the blessing will come so fast, so heavy, and so undeniable, it'll look like an overnight miracle. But you'll know it was years in the making. Delay is divine. Delay is a sign that heaven is taking your calling seriously. A quick blessing can vanish as fast as it came, but a mature blessing will last for generations. And you, chosen one, are not just called to be rich, you're called to reign. That's why the wait feels long. Because what you're building will outlive you, and God will not let it be rushed. Because when the delay is over and the promise arrives, you won't just walk into wealth. You'll walk into it with the strength, wisdom, and anointing to carry it for a lifetime. Supernatural provision will meet supernatural belief. Faith activates favor. Chosen one, you have to understand that the currency of heaven is not paper, metal, or digital digits. It is raw, unwavering faith. Not the polite kind that whispers a prayer and then glances over its shoulder to see if anyone is watching. I'm talking about the relentless, eyes-blazing, mountain-moving faith that won't take impossible for an answer. The kind that stands in an empty field and thanks God for the skyscraper already erected in the spirit. When that level of belief ignites in your soul, it sends out a frequency the natural world cannot ignore. Doors creak open that were never supposed to exist. Resources reroute themselves like rivers obeying gravity, and people you have never met start dreaming about blessing you. That is supernatural provision responding to supernatural belief. Faith is not intellectual agreement. It is spiritual combustion. It's the readiness to risk reputation, comfort, and predictability because you are more convinced of God's promise than of your own limitations. Remember Peter. One moment he's staring at a raging sea, the next he's walking on top of it. Because a single word from Jesus was more solid to him than the water beneath his feet. That's the realm you're called to live in. Faith does not ask, "What if I sink?" Faith says, "What if I soar?" And when you step out on that word, when doubt is screaming and wind is howling, the supernatural meets you halfway. Money shows up in places accountants can't trace. Contracts land in your lap that no resume could justify. Favor finds you in rooms your name was never listed in. That's not luck, that's the law of belief. According to your faith be it unto you, but hear me. Belief is not blind optimism, it is informed conviction. Abraham didn't believe in vague positivity. He staggered not at the promise of God, being fully persuaded that what God had promised, he was able also to perform. Your faith must be persuaded. Persuaded beyond what the news says, beyond what the economy reports, beyond what your bank balance screams at 2 a.m. You must feed that faith daily. Pray in tongues, speak the word out loud, guard your atmosphere, cut off conversations that contaminate your confidence. Faith is fragile when starved and ferocious when fed. Feed it until the supernatural feels natural and the miraculous feels mandatory. Understand this principle. Belief initiates, obedience accelerates, and gratitude seals the deal. When you believe for a harvest, sow a seed, time, talent, or treasure, and do it with thanksgiving as though the answer is already delivered. Gratitude is the language of receivers. It tells the universe, delivery accepted. That one act flips the switch from pending to manifested. Suddenly, the job offer materializes, the investor calls back, the medical report shifts, the bank error resolves itself in your favor. Cynics call it coincidence, faith calls it covenant. And let me warn you, when supernatural provision starts flowing, doubt will try to drag you back to the shore you once called safe. Don't let it. Resist the urge to explain miracles to minds married to logic. Some things are meant to be experienced, not explained. Keep your eyes on the promise, keep your praise on your lips, and keep walking on water until walking on water feels like walking on pavement. Because the life of the chosen one is not a series of lucky breaks. It is a continuum of faith-provoked breakthroughs, so elevate your belief. Pray like it's already answered. Plan like the funds are already wired. Speak like contracts are already signed. Faith is heaven's legal tender. Spend it lavishly, and the vaults of provision will respond accordingly. And when a chosen one believes beyond reason, heaven responds beyond measure, turning invisible faith into undeniable fortune. Chosen one, when you rise, it's not just about you, it's about legacy. The billions you're destined for are not meant to just buy mansions, fly private, or live lavish. They're meant to rewrite the story of your bloodline. They're meant to build what your ancestors only dreamed of. You see, when God chose you, He didn't just have you in mind. He saw the generations that would come after you. He saw your grandchildren walking through doors you kicked open. He saw entire communities being fed, children being educated, broken homes being restored, all because you decided to rise. This isn't about selfish success. This is about sacred responsibility. You are a chain breaker, a curse shatterer, a divine disruptor. And your wealth is the tool God is using to establish a legacy that hell itself cannot erase. Understand this. A true billionaire doesn't just leave money, they leave momentum. You are being raised to shift culture, to influence systems, to rebuild ancient ruins. The kingdom needs kings in the marketplace. It needs those who can fund the vision, not just cheer it on. And that's why the enemy tried to break you early. That's why you faced setback after setback. Because he knew if you ever saw yourself correctly, if you ever realized who you are and what you carry, his grip on your bloodline would be shattered forever. But here you are, still standing, still believing, still chosen. And that alone is proof that the legacy is intact. You've been praying for wealth, but God is preparing you for impact. Because money with no mission is just noise. But wealth with divine purpose? That's thunder. That shakes cities, that lifts nations, that brings heaven to earth. The world doesn't need another influencer. It needs a righteous ruler. Someone who won't sell out. Someone who remembers the source of their success. Someone who uses their platform to point people back to the throne. That's you, chosen one. You weren't just selected to succeed. You were appointed to lead. And leadership begins with vision. Can you see what God is doing through you? Can you feel the weight of what He's building around you? Legacy is intentional. It's not about saving what you've earned. It's about sowing what you've received. It's about building schools, launching missions, investing in those who carry divine ideas. It's about creating systems of support that survive long after your name is whispered. That kind of wealth doesn't happen by accident. It happens through strategy, obedience, and relentless commitment to the calling. Don't just aim to be rich. Aim to be remembered. Let your legacy speak when your voice no longer can. Start thinking generationally. The prayers you whisper today will become the protection your great-grandchildren walk in tomorrow. The seeds you plant today will become the forests they live under, and the battles you fight right now. Those are the demons they'll never have to face. That's legacy. That's kingdom wealth. And that's what God is trusting you with. Not just for you, but for the world. So wake up each day with that fire in your chest, knowing that your life is a bridge for someone else's breakthrough. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are called to finance freedom, to birth businesses that bless the broken, to be a light in places where darkness was comfortable. And every decision you make, every dollar you invest, every risk you take, every prayer you pray, builds a blueprint for the next generation to follow. And when you embrace your billionaire calling with legacy in mind, heaven will make sure your name echoes in eternity, not because you were rich, but because you were righteous with your riches.